Signs of Judgment Day. Now, this paragraph is deliberately short because if we want to make this long, it will be very, very, very long. So I didn't want to make it very, very, very long, as intriguing as the topic is. So it's just listed here. So not to miss this important point of Aqidah, so that this outstanding reference would have a chapter for the signs of Judgment Day, but without details. So the author says there are two types of signs for the nearing of Judgment Day: many minor signs and 10 major signs. The one-eyed impostor, Ad-Dajjal, Ad-Dajjal al-Awar, the descent of Jesus, the release of Gog and Magog, the rising of the sun from the west, the beast of the earth, the Dabba. This beast, according to some reports, is huge. So what they call that these days, kaiju. And the smoke and the fire and the cleaving of the earth in 3 places. Wa subhanallahi wa bihamdih. Resurrection. The Ba'ath, resurrection, is true or real. So that's what the scholars say, so that's why it said it's like that. Wal Ba'athu haqq. It is the dead exiting the graves, S apostrophe, so that's a plural, after the reconstruction of any of their bodies that were eaten by the soil. Those are the bodies of other than the prophets, battlefield martyrs, and some saints. Footnote, because of what was narrated by Tawatur of witnessing some of the walis whose bodies did not decay. The first for whom the grave shall split open is our Master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and among the first to be resurrected are the people of Mecca, Medina, and Al-Ta'if. That's all summarized right there. So there's information that can be inserted in between these lines. For who has that information, then he could elaborate if he wanted to follow this text. The philosophical Arabs and others before them have differed about the possibility of resurrection, because Arabs had philosophers too. Philosophers are not just the Greeks, and all cultures had philosophers. And the rational discussion about it is from the book, meaning not merely the religious obligation of believing in it, like how we have to believe in the Arsh and the Kursi, and we have to believe in the balance that weighs the deeds. Rather, the mental arguments about it from the book are from the book. Yeah, the Quran gives the rational arguments for resurrection. So to establish the intellectual validity of resurrection after death. How's that? Here. There were 2 factions who denied the resurrection amongst the Arabs. One confessed that the world is created, but denied any resurrection or afterlife. And the other denied that the world has a beginning. So some of them, they believe the world is created, and they denied a resurrection or an afterlife. They believe that the world will go on forever. Like the tribe of Ad, that was one of their convictions, that there's no resurrection and that life will just merely go on. There were 2 factions who denied the resurrection. One who confessed that the world is created but denied any resurrection or afterlife, and the other denied that the world has a beginning. So those are atheists. They all found it far-fetched for some reason. They found the resurrection of bodies to be something far-fetched. So they said, أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا. After we have died and turned into soil, ذَلِكَ رَجِعٌ بَعِيدٌ. That is a far-fetched return. And they said, مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ. Who will revive these bones when they have become dust? And they said, أَيَعِدُكُمْ أَنَّكُمْ إِذَا مِتُّمْ وَكُنْتُمْ تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا أَنَّكُمْ مُخْرَجُونَ. Does he promise you that after you die and then become soil and bones that you will come back out? Allah gave the Prophet ﷺ the argument against the first group, those who confirm the first creation, that the world itself is created, and they deny the second creation, which is the afterlife. قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. O Muhammad, say, its reviver is the one who created it the first time. So you're going to use that for someone who doesn't deny that the world has a beginning. That's proof here. That's the point here. This is Al-Ash'ari's argument, by the way. All this right here, this is... the only reason I'm not quoting Imam Al-Ash'ari here is because I just shaved it down to make it fit the book. And to just make it easy for myself to not have to be like very literal. But otherwise, this is just what Al-Ash'ari said here, directly from his booklet. Rahimahullah ta'ala. Istihsanul Khawd. That one.
That was Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Was that the book you just said just now?
Yes.
Does it says it on there that I can write it down?
I'll write it for you.
Okay, nice.
Istihsan al-Khawd. So, he set it up by telling us. Some of them, they said, the world is created, but they denied resurrection. And others, they denied that the world is even created, meaning that it has a beginning. They denied that the world has a beginning. So, the first group who they believe the world has a beginning, but they deny resurrection and afterlife, Allah revealed this ayah to Muhammad. قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. O Muhammad, say, its reviver is the one who created it the first time. So if you give that one to someone who believes that the world has no beginning, he's going to argue with you there. He's already arguing with you that there is a resurrection. Then you give him this, he's going to argue with you that the world has a beginning too. So you need to put every proof with its proper spot. And وَهُوَ الَّذِي يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ وَهُوَ أَهْوَنُ عَلَيْهِ. He it is who starts the creation, then he restores it, and that is easy on him. And he starts the creation means he created it the first time. He created this world and he created us. Then he will recreate it, because when the angel blows the horn, his horn blast will make heavens and earth shatter into pieces. And then, after 40 years, Allah will bring the earth back again. And he will make the people come out of their graves. So that's the second creation. وَهُوَ الَّذِي يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ. He it is who starts the creation. ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. Then he restores it. وَهُوَ أَهْوَنُ عَلَيْهِ. And it is easy on him. Looks like it says easier on him. But nothing is easier for God. Everything is under his power with the same relation. Yani, his creating everything is like creating one thing. for him to create everything is like creating one thing. So nothing is easier for him than another thing. So the meaning here, وَهُوَ أَهْوَنُ عَلَيْهِ, it is easy on him or easy for him. And some said there is a significance to this form. Yani, this is valid interpretation to interpret what looks like superlative form as not superlative in meaning, like what we did here. Looks like easier, but we just said easy. This is correct interpretation. And some said it does have a significance to superlative form. Not to say that one thing is easier for God than another, which would imply that one thing is more difficult for him than another, but that everything is the same for God in terms of creating. But in the human conception, to do something the second time is easier than doing it the first time. So if the human is someone who confessed that the world is created in the first place, then in his own conception should be easy for God to create it a second time, because he did it the first time. And كما بدأكم تعودون. Also, this verse, just as he started you, so shall you return. Meaning, how did he start you? You come out of your mother naked, barefoot, and uncircumcised. How are you going to come out of your grave naked, barefoot, and uncircumcised? But not as a baby, though. You're going to come out however you died. If you died as a young person, you're going to come out of your grave like that. If you died as an old person, you're going to come out of your grave like that. Allah informed them by these verses that the one who has the power to do what has no previous example has the power to do what has already been done. The one who has the power to do what has no previous example. What has no previous example? What do you call that? What do you call that? There's a name for it that has this. It's interpreted with these words. 5, 4.
Originator?
I'm looking for the Arabic word here. 3, 2, 1. Al-Ibda'. 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 We took that in Al-Fiqh al-Akbar. And we took it in this book too. Allah is Badi'u samawati wal ard. Al-Badi' has the letters Ba, Dal, Ain, like bid'ah. What's a bid'ah? Something that wasn't done before. So when Allah named himself Al-Badi', what does it mean? It means the one who created without a prior example. As for the group that denied the first and second creation, so they believe the world is eternal and that it shall never end and that there is no resurrection, they have a fallacy. So first you need to understand what they say so that you can understand the answer. Which is that they said, we find life to be moist and warm, and death to be cold and dry. So where's this talk coming from? This is like the way the doctors talk, the old doctors, not the modern Western doctors. Like, didn't we hear some things about humoral medicine from some of our sheikhs and doctors in our community who learned this old medicine? So it's that type of talk. So they said, we find life to be moist and warm and death to be cold and dry. Cold and dry, which is the nature of soil. The soil is cold and dry, but life is moist and warm. So you see where they're going there. How then would it be that life would merge with soil and decayed bones and then become a living creation again, while two opposites do not merge? وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى. The answer is, it is true that two opposites do not merge in the same place or from the same direction. However, it is valid that two opposites exist beside each other, that they coexist beside each other, alongside each other. Allah refuted their notion when He said, الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون. He who created for you from the moist green tree fire, and behold, from it you ignite. Or we could take this word fire here, put it here. He who created fire for you from the moist green tree, and behold, from it you ignite. Yani, the tree is moist, meaning your fuel is wet. How you get fire out of wet fuel? Thus, Allah referred them to what they know and witness, which is for fire with its heat and dryness to come out of the green tree with its moisture and coolness. Hence, He made what is evident in the creation proof for the possibility of life after death. Because this then proves that it is valid for life to exist alongside the soil and the rotten bones, like it is valid for the fire to come out of the moist tree, and then for the creation to be made alive again. Any question? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Going back, what you gave me with that book, was that Imam Tahawi book?
No, that's Imam al-Ash'ari's book. It's a booklet.
And that the quote, it goes all the way back to what you said, Allah said about the proof that He gave the Prophet about those who made believe that the world was have a beginning, and those who say that the world don't have a beginning.
I didn't understand the question.
Is that the quote that is Ari? Was that at the beginning what you was telling me about? You said Allah gave the Prophet proofs about gives two groups.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But I still didn't understand the question. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given proof to refute two groups. One group, both groups denied the afterlife. One group says the world has a beginning, and the other group says it doesn't. So the ones who said that the world has a beginning, but there's no afterlife, Allah gave the Prophet such proofs as this ayah. قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Say its reviver is the one who created it the first time. I actually had an opportunity to use this on some person as a proof. A person who said, I don't believe in resurrection. I just believe that when we die, that's it. And that's it. Everything goes black and life goes on. That's the person. This person is an apostate who told me that. I was trying to make that person come back to Islam. So I recited this ayah. And I told them, what's the point of the ayah? قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. And I explained. Its reviver is the one who created it the first time. If He created it the first time, if He created you the first time, why would you think He can't bring you back to life? And the person literally had no answer. And the other argument, or the other party, the proof against the other party is this ayah about fire coming out of a moist tree. If someone were to recite Surah Yasin that contains this ayah, he might not know what is the significance, that there is some significance other than that Allah reminds him of something amazing from the creation. Maybe somebody would read this ayah and he thinks, oh, in this ayah Allah tells us about some of his amazing creations. He it is who created for you the green tree. He created from the green tree fire for you. And then someone will say, Subhanallah, which that's true and that's fine. But there's actually a significance here, which is that there's some people, they deny that the world has a beginning and they deny that there's a resurrection. These ones, they are the ones who said, we find that life is moist and warm and death is cold and dry. So from here, they made some argument to deny resurrection. They're denying that the world has a beginning and they deny resurrection. These are philosophers, Arab philosophers. So Allah revealed this ayah that it contains something familiar to them. So if you are someone who's interested in humoral medicine and therefore you think about the moisture and the dryness and the warmth and the coldness of all the things around you, then this ayah is going to resonate for you in a way that it doesn't resonate for someone else. Because you, person who's interested in this humoral medicine and that type of thing, it registers for you that the green tree is moist and the fire is dry. The green tree is moist and cool, and the fire is warm and dry. So Allah tells us He creates the warm, dry fire from the moist, cool tree. So that's a refutation for those who would say, how is there a resurrection? We find life to be moist and warm and death to be cold and dry. And that's the nature of soil, to be cold and dry. So how would the moist, warm life come out of soil that is cold and dry? The answer is by the power of Allah, like this ayah. الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون. He who created fire for you from the moist green tree, and behold, from it you ignite. You can follow up if you want. Maybe I didn't answer your question.
No, you answered the question, but I know that order to come up with this proof to someone, he must believe in God first. That's the premise.
Yes, he has to believe in God first. If he doesn't even acknowledge the existence of God, we're not even going to have this conversation with him.
Yes, okay. All right, got you. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a different conversation. And we're not going to let him change the subject, too. A person who doesn't believe in God and he's insisting that you would convince him about something that requires believing in God first. And then if you try to prove that God exists, he won't listen and say, no, you're changing the subject. So he doesn't even want to listen to you. He wants to disprove you and argue with you. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَبِحَمْدِهِ